I'm Dr. Jill, and welcome to my YouTube channel, giving you big answers to life's big questions. This is the third episode, and in this episode, I will be answering the big question, what is naturalism? In the last two episodes, I have introduced you to worldviews. A worldview is a set of beliefs about the world that shape how you live. We learned that worldviews can be divided into two main groups, religious and secular or non-religious worldviews. Christianity is an example of a religious worldview. Today, I am going to introduce you to naturalism, which is an example of a secular worldview. Naturalists believe that matter or the physical world is all that exists. Everything that we see in the world is made up of matter. Matter is anything that has mass or weight and takes up space. These are things that we can know through our five senses. Things that we can see, smell, touch, taste, and hear. For naturalism, the things that we can see, smell, touch, taste, and hear are the only things that exist. They are the only things that are real. This means that things like God, angels, and demons are not real because naturalists believe we cannot see, smell, touch, taste, or hear them. For naturalists, the study of science using the scientific method and our five senses is the only way we can know what is real and what is true about the world. For naturalism, the spiritual world cannot be studied using science, so it is not real. This is the opposite of what the Bible teaches. I am going to read you a verse from Colossians 1:15-17. The words will be on the screen, so you can read along if you would like. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or dominions or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Does this verse fit with a naturalist worldview? No, definitely not. But why not? Because this verse talks about the invisible God creating both visible and invisible things. In a naturalist worldview, there are only visible things. I said on this channel, we will be answering some of life's big questions. I am going to read you a little bit from a children's book that talks about how the world began, according to naturalism. Remember, naturalists believe that matter or the physical world is all that exists. As we read this book called One Day a Dot, we are going to pretend that we are naturalists and answer a couple of our big questions according to naturalism. We are going to answer the question, how did it all begin? Let's see how our book answers this question. One day, a dot appeared, and it was so excited to be there that it burst. This made beautiful new dots that were so attractive that they joined together, and then there was light. The light made even more dots in colors never seen before, and these got together as well and formed dots of every size. One of these dots, the third one from the sun, was a very special shade of blue. So how did it all begin? This book says that it began with a dot, with matter, something physical. But notice it doesn't tell us how the dot got there in the first place. In fact, at the very end of the book, it says these amazing creatures, the people, could make anything and learn everything. But despite all that, there was one question they could not answer. Where did the first dot come from? We will look at the question, how did it all begin, in more detail later. But for now, I just want to point out that the naturalist worldview can't really answer the question, how did it all begin? Because it can't tell you how the first dot got there. But the Christian worldview has a very good answer to this question. Let's see how this book answers another one of our questions. Why am I here? So after the dot, there was a special shade of blue that appeared. This book talks about how the dots made more dots and bigger dots that turned into the sea creatures and the animals and eventually even dinosaurs. Some of you may recognize this as describing the process of evolution, which is how most naturalists believe the world and people got here. And then there was an explosion that killed the dinosaurs, but a furry creature living under the ground survived. Then it says, remember that little fur thing? Her home underground kept her alive. So she started a family. Her children spread over that blue dot. And as they spread, they got bigger and grew into new shapes. The book describes some of the things they could do. But one day, a fur thing appeared that didn't have sharp teeth. It didn't have claws. It didn't even have warm fur. It had something new, a big brain. So to stay alive, it used its big brain to make things. The book describes some of the things these creatures could do, and then it says, after a while, these creatures could make big things and little things and flying things and digging things, whatever they needed to stay alive. How does this book answer the question, why am I here? The answer is, I am here to stay alive. That's it. My whole purpose in life, the reason I am here is to stay alive as long as possible. We will also look more closely at this question later, and we will see that this answer is very different than the Christian answer to the question, why am I here? The Christian answer is that I have been created by God, and that I am here to love Him and to love other people. So to review, naturalism is a worldview that believes that matter, or the physical world, is all that exists. In the next episode, I will introduce you to one more secular worldview called postmodernism. And then we will begin to look at how these three worldviews, naturalism, postmodernism, and Christianity, answer some of life's big questions. Join me next time for another big answer to a big question.